Hey guys, it's me, Weeb Nation, and I didn't really need to make this video for you guys, but I kinda did need to make it for me, you know? A game recently has really impacted me. Like, like I already knew all the endings of the game, cause when I was a kid, which was very recently. I only recently turned into an adult, but I don't even think I'm truly an adult yet. I would look up games that looked interesting to me because I didn't have the money nor a job to buy games. So, I would watch Let's Play of games that looked interesting to me. One game that came out of that was this really underground series. Well, it's no longer, but for the longest time it was a very underground series named Danganronpa. And it was my favorite game of all time. Like, when I finally got money to buy games, it was the first game I decided to buy with the money. The first series that I bought with the money. And I played the first two games, and they're still two of my fondest gaming memories. Because it was something that, even though I knew what was going to happen, I got to play it. I got to decide how to spend the free time events. I got to decide what characters I would feel bad about dying. I got to decide how I spent the or the order of the dates I went on in island mode. I didn't have to watch someone else do it. I got to do it myself. And I was so excited about that. I was a fucking grown adult and I got fucking giddy over being able to play a game that I've been in love with since I was 13. So I got another game. However, for the sake of spoilers, I cannot say which game because I have friends who watch this. I know that some people I talk to will watch every upload I put out, not because they're good, not because they're worth their time, but because they're my friends and they watch what I put out. Like, I'm so appreciative of that. They decide to fucking waste their time just to see a video that I spent, like, no time on. It's so weird to me. Either way, I'm gonna try to force those people, those same people who watch all of my uploads, to watch or play or do whatever for this game. This entire series. Christmas of 2019, I got a little game, which was the second in the series. And I never really played it. I wanted to. I wanted to so bad. But I never would dedicate the time for it. So I didn't. And it would just sit in my fucking glass cabinet and just collect dust. So at the end of October, I decided to sit down and play a couple more hours. And I got an ending. I got the fucking JoJo characters ending. And I was so hyped about that. And I took another break because I'm an idiot. And then this last week, I played the hell out of it. And I've still yet to get another ending. Because I'm still missing the fucking director's room password. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to get that. Because I bought the first game with my money. that I got from working a haunted house, I bought a game. It's the first game in the series, though I shall not name the game nor the series, but I will name the ending that I'm about to tell you guys about. It's called the safe ending. Not because any of the characters end up safe, but because all the information that leads you to getting this specific ending comes in a safe. I was about to say case. I have not planned out anything I'm going to say. I'm just going off a whim. It comes out of a safe that you find in the second room that your character searches. And you get all this information, and it reveals the villain of the game. Not the mastermind, the villain. So, let's head back a bit. You meet 9 characters, one of which explodes. So you have 8 characters that you have to trust, but you also have to distrust, because you're not sure who is what. At some point you start to think, hey, maybe the mastermind is one of us. At some point you're like, oh, I think this character killed them. But you're never really 100 until the last 30 minutes. The last 30 minutes of a path of a 40-hour game. I believe it's 40 hours. Don't quote me on that. You have just gone... Sorry, my brain shut down for a moment. It takes you that long, till the last 30 minutes, to find out who exactly killed your friends. Who exactly betrayed you. Who exactly is the villain. Not the mastermind, the villain. I know who the villain is because as a child I watched all 3 games in this series. But I did not remember that this guy was the villain until I started watching videos getting hyped about the first game. So I spoiled myself. Poor me, I messed up. I'm gonna not swear anymore if I can help it. I spoiled myself. And so I'm not going to do that for anyone else. So, the safe ending. I will say spoilers, but I will not say to which game. Except the first game, I did say that. But I will not give the name of the game. So, you are sitting in the hospital room of this Titanic knockoff, and you are talking to everyone you know, except one of them has gone missing. So you're searching for him. You're searching for the prince, we'll call him. And everyone decides, since you only have such a limited amount of time to escape, that everyone should go through the doors. The lion knocks himself out as to hide something, and your groups split up into 2. You are always split up from your childhood friend, and you're like, oh no. But in the end, you meet her again, over and over, because all the paths end up meeting up once more. You solve that room's puzzle, and you find out that the prince has a fake arm, and he lost his sight in an accident. And you're like, oh no. So, you find the prince's dead body. Except, it has its left arm. And you're like, yo, the prince is dead. But later on you realize, wait a minute, the prince isn't dead. This is some other person. Not one of the original 9, just a guy. You never learn who it is in this path. But playing throughout the entire game, you finally learn who that person is, but not there. And I think that's great. You learn 3 names, but you're not sure who's who except for one of them. But there are 4 people that you need to find out about. And you only know one of them. The bad guy. The lion. So, later on you realize that the prince isn't dead. He was hidden in a coffin, which, if I'm being honest, he would have suffocated in if this game was real, but it's not. It's half Japanese, half American, all confusing. So, your character, number 5, opens up the coffin after finding the prince's sister dead. And you let him out. You don't tell him yet that his sister's dead because you don't want him going on a psychotic breakdown, killing everyone you care about, including your childhood friend, Silver the Hedgehog, a mountain. So you can't tell him yet. Like, you even know who killed her. The lion. The lion killed the prince's sister, the princess. But you can't tell him. And it, like, that just leads to a bigger buildup. So they continue going, and they have to leave behind Silver the Hedgehog and your childhood best friend. And she's the one who tells you to leave them behind because you need to stop the lion from possibly killing the dancer. I know that just hearing these names means absolutely nothing to anyone who doesn't already know what I'm talking about, but that's a good thing. And so you chase after the lion and try to save the exotic dancer because he has a gun to her head and is opening doors that will make it so no one else will be able to open those doors. Oh no, that's a bad thing if I'm being honest with you. And you get in there, into this incinerator room, and you've been given a 10-minute countdown for about 5 minutes now. And the lion tells the prince that he killed the princess, that his sister is dead, and that he was the one who killed her. And so the prince, in all of his blind, perfect vision, because he hears everything, not a pin dropping from a mile away, but that's how he sees. He hears everything around him. Voices bouncing off of things, breathing. That's how he sees. And he's perfect at it. So he charges at the lion and gets shot in the chest. Everyone thinks the prince is dead, including the lion, including number 5, including the mountain, even the dancer. The dancer runs behind the mountain because she was in the lion's grasp for so long, but here she is, still alive. So the lion is telling the other 3 how he is going to wreck them. He's going to shoot number 5, the dancer, and then the mountain 3 times. And he, before he can shoot any of them, the prince charges at his leg. The prince didn't die. You thought he had died for a second time. You spent the first half of this route thinking that he was dead just for him to come back to you, just for you to think he was dead, just for him to come back to you again. He gets shot 5 more times. The entire revolver's rounds were shot into him. Yet the prince is still alive. And his strength is should have been gone like 3 minutes ago. But he's still just as strong as he was. And the countdown, it's like at a minute now. And the lion's like, come on, come on. If you let me go now, I can take you to one of my hospitals and I'll be able to save you. I have the highest doctors ready. And the prince doesn't let go. He doesn't care. He wants to take down the one person who he could kill to avenge his sister. So he doesn't care about his own death. His death means nothing. He thinks that if he does this, maybe his sister will forgive him in heaven because he didn't save her while she was alive. And there's a 10-second countdown. And number 5, you are just clamoring to like try and save the prince. You want the lion dead just as much, but you don't want to lose the prince. You already lost him twice now. And so you are being pulled back by the mountain. The mountain is holding you back with all of his strength because there's 10 seconds left before the incinerator starts. And if he doesn't get you behind those doors, he won't just lose the lion. He won't just lose the prince. He'll lose both of them and the main character. That's 3 more losses added on to the 3 dead bodies they've already found. 6 people out of all 10 people they met would be dead. There would be 4 people left. And they could do nothing to stop that. So he does stop that. He saves one person's life, taking the casualties down to half. So you lose the prince for a 3rd and final time. There's nothing you could have done. The prince was determined to die there. And so he does. But you watch it. You watch it in whole. You watch them burn to a crisp. And everyone's about to cry. Everyone is crying. You can hear the dancer crying as you're being dragged out. You can hear the mountain crying while he's dragging you out, telling you, we gotta go. The thing about the mountain crying is really hard because he's the group's rock, the group's mountain. When the princess dies, he's holding back as many tears as he can. Like, he's the first to find the body, and he's the last to cry. Everyone's crying, but the rock just doesn't. He's there to hold everyone together. So you can hear him crying through his words. And he drags you out, and you just say, I'm gonna go get Silver and the childhood best friend. You're like, don't worry, I will be back. So you search the entire ship, and you head back to a building known as the chapel. And in the chapel, you find only your childhood friend. And you rush over to her side because she's on the ground. She says, I don't think I'm going to make it. And you say, don't, just hold in there. Just hold in there. I will get you out of here. Just hold in there. And she says to you, I don't know if you've known, but I've liked you for a long time. And you're holding back tears. Like, you just sit there and don't know what to say. Like, the entire game, whenever you're reading his dialogue, it is so obvious he is in love with her. I believe he even says at one point that she was his first love. And so to hear her say that back as she's dying, do you know how much that hurts? And so she follows up and she's like, I was so happy to see you when we got on this ship. I, I had. I wish it could have been longer. And he's like, don't say was. I will get you out of here. You will live. And she just sits there. She doesn't say anything back. He's still about to cry. And so you hear the mastermind over the intercoms, and he's like, it's game over. I'm paraphrasing here because I'm running short on time. It's game over, and you're like, I will not lose. And the mastermind's like, oh, don't misunderstand me. You didn't lose. I lost. So you run out to the hall after saying to the childhood friend, stay right here. I'll be right back. In less than 10 seconds, you look out into the hall. You look both ways. There's nowhere he could have hid. The mastermind's gone. You even heard the door shut, which is the entire reason you ran out into the hall. But he's not there. So you turn back and go back into the chapel to where your childhood friend was lying, and she's not there. And you yell out and the main character yells out the nickname that he's called her since childhood, until he can't yell anymore. And like, in many of the endings of this game, you never get to say goodbye to her. In this ending, she disappears into thin air. In some endings, she dies. In the true ending, she leaves without ever saying goodbye. And the main character in the following games chases after her for his entire life. He has enough time to adopt a child and then a grandchild. And he finally sees her one last time. But she's dead. The last time he sees her, she's dead. He sees her hologram. He's searched his entire adult life just to see this one woman. Just to say goodbye.